Christmas can be a hectic time. You've got to wrap all the presents, string the lights, but it's important to remember to take time out for yourself and relax.
Yeah, and one way I like to relax is to read comics, because they're usually good. Papers. You've got comic books, graphic novels.
In the first round, our cookiers are adding cookie comics to that across 3 panels on one big cookie, at least 6 inches across. We're looking for a very, very clear comic. 0 explanation required. And the classic setup, punchline.
Tonight, we're gonna see a lot of funny looking cookies.
How we get from fish.
And then the cookie makers go big.
Wow, that is quite an oversized ornament.
The cookie maker who flourishes will win a $10,000 prize and take home the golden ornament. The cookie makers have just 90 minutes to create a Christmas comic strip that'll make us LOL.
Part of this comic is you only get 3 panels to tell a complete story that makes the judge laugh. If I make a comic that isn't funny, I will just probably burst into tears. I'm getting sweaty already. Oh my goodness. My name is Danny, and I'm the owner of Hello Baked Cookies in San Diego, California. I started cookies 5 years ago, and it turned into a business. My color palettes are pale greens and coral red. Whew. I want to win that golden ornament because every year my mom gives me an ornament for Christmas. It would just be the ultimate ornament to add to my collection. Christmas Cookie Challenge champion, right on the top. Right now I'm making a cookie based on my wedding cake. I recently got married. My wedding cake was a looking good. Basically a spoof on Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus relationship. First panel is Santa explaining to Mrs. Claus. Of course he went to his ex's house. It's his job. And then my second panel is Mrs. Claus not so happy about that. And finally, the third is my punchline. Mrs. Claus is sending him to the doghouse, AKA the reindeer house. If I see Eddie and laugh, I'm like, oh, just like send me to heaven now. Smells delicious. Buttercream.
Okay, so you're not a royal icing person?
No, I don't use royal icing at all.
Whoa.
I'm here to represent the buttercream cookie community. I want to show the world that buttercream can look just as good as royal icing, but taste way better. With buttercream, there are a lot more tools involved. There are tons of piping tips that I use, and I use things like palette knives. But one benefit of buttercream is that you don't have to wait for drying, and so you can just do a whole cookie.
Did you decide to make?
An apple cider cookie. I've added some cinnamon, I've added some
Potentially delicious.
For my comic cookie, the story that I want to tell is just a mom who really needs a little bit of alone time during the holidays. What inspired this comic is myself and my kids. I have this little turtle family. It's a mom who's in her shell and the kid is yelling, "Mom!" And then the second panel is, "I'm wrapping presents." And the third panel is the mom inside of her shell enjoying.
I'm gonna let it mix for a minute. I make probably 20 to 40 dozen cookies in a week, and I can get that done in 2 days. It means so much to my family to be able to win. My parents drove me to cookie conventions for 7 years, and they'd be so proud to see, like, this is what our journey has come to. Nothing's gonna get in my way. All right, I'm making a cranberry orange sugar cookie dough. Cranberry and orange zest at Christmas time is a nice, refreshing Christmas treat. Gonna be the story of my mom is not a good baker. So the first panel is gonna be me as a child. And the second panel is gonna be me as a teenager when I finally realized. Now I took over and we have like perfect cookies. Perfect. I'm not going for a punchline. I'm going for an all-around lighthearted story.
Right, so let's see how this goes. Hi, my name is Patricia Long, and I'm originally from Slovakia. During the Christmas time, we are big on baking Christmas cookies, gingerbread cookies, Linzer cookies, kolache. Oh no! When I was a little girl, I used to like to paint, and now when I started to decorate cookies, The coolest mom. Dávajte si pozor na Patriciu. I am making a sugar cookie with orange zest and cardamom because they are Christmassy flavors. I'm not going to use a lot of cardamom because I want the orange to be a star of my cookie. All right. For my Christmas comic, I'm going to tell a story from my childhood. In Slovakia, it's very common to eat carp, fish, for a Christmas dinner and let it swim in your bathtub. To set it free. So the second panel is then the punchline is the third panel, the big dining table with no carb, just pizza. You get it? Instead of carb, we are eating pizza. I'm going to paint some white food gel to create crackle effect. While it's baking, it's supposed to create beautiful wooden texture on my cookie.
All right, let's do this. I'm Eugenia. I am a librarian by day and a hobby baker by night. Winning would mean paying off my student loan, so that would be huge. My cookie style I would describe as a little bit weird, a little bit wonderful, and one of the things that people are surprised by are the structural macarons that I make. I like to create things where people go, whoa, what is that? This is almond flour. I'm making a 7-inch macaron comic for round one because they're made with almond flour, egg whites, sugar, all that good stuff. And I'm using aged egg whites because that tends to whip up a little bit faster. Anything from if the temperature's too hot or too cold to if you overmix the batter. It's a bit of a risk, and I totally recognize that, but I'm willing to take that risk because I love macarons. And then I fold the almond flour in with the egg whites. All right, I think it's typically sandwich cookies, and so you have to have a back and a front. Okay, and we'll work on the top while this is drying. What I'm creating, and so I think it would be fun in my comic to make the food the characters. The first panel depicts typical Christmas foods, having a party. The second panel depicts someone ringing the doorbell, and I'm typing the guests at the door that you'll see through the window. On the bottom part of the macaron, the last panel, you open the door and you see that it is my favorite Taiwanese foods. The dumpling and a bowl of sticky rice. I'm not going for funny. The goal is to convey a personal story in a fun way with cute characters. Piping the door frame, piping the walls of the house, and then my dinner party guests. We've got dumpling. So I decided to do these colors in macaron to lay the foundation for the design, which will then help me decorate after it comes out of the oven.
My technique that I like to do is painting with royalizing. Normally I mix my colors just like how a painter would. It gives it a little bit more texture.
Artist palette right there.
The first scene I'm gonna do is gonna be Santa in his house. So I'm painting the color of his wall.
You're gonna paint all the panels?
Each scene is gonna be different.
Okay.
If it's all the same color, it's gonna kind of blend into one scene.
Oh no. This is a mess now. When I open the oven, I see a disaster. The crackle effect is not happening. There is some weird gooey texture going on. Maybe I added a little too much. I have to make a new cookie, I guess. Oh my gosh.
45 minutes for your Christmas comics.
Yay. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, Patrizia, her crackle didn't work.
Oh, no.
She's starting all over.
I still have some extra dough in my mixing bowl, so I am rolling it out real quick. This time, I'm not going to paint anything. Guy in behind.
I think I feel good about the time. I heard it was like 45 minutes a little bit ago. First thing I do on my cookie is flood and ice all of the walls on each panel. Me and my mom, we're in the same kitchen in all 3 of these panels. And I'm decorating with a vanilla royal icing. I'm not piping lines to distinguish the different panels because I'm hoping that I can create the dimension in my piping. Love that.
I'm dipping the spatula to get it hot so that when I smooth it over, turtle shell because it's such a small picture, and then adding the black out.
Okay, it's a little soft. Then hope that it holds up well. And while those are in the oven, I will be creating the buttercream. My family loves lychee, and so my buttercream is going to have lychee juice from a can. All right, gonna set this aside for now. Go check on my macaron.
Cookie makers, 30 minutes remaining.
And that's no
No
joke.
joke.
I get icy in my eye. I'm adding all the details on my characters. Once I got his head on, I'll know where I can put my speech bubble. I want to add a speech bubble to really pay homage to that classic comic look. I'm happy with that.
Okay, Patrizia is out of the oven again. So how does it look?
It came out better because I didn't have that food gel. Icing to save time. In the first, see my bag and my hair braided. I decided not to paint any faces because I am trying to save some time. Let's do this. I am not going to use something Christmassy because this is a Christmas cookie. Also,
Very interesting approaches to this Christmas comic challenge. Some have words, some don't.
How much explanation is the humor going to require?
Well, I think the thing about comics is that it doesn't really need a lot of explanation.
Yeah, and there's got to be that punchline at the end.
Oh, the big reveal. When I take the macarons out, they're looking a little brown, which tells me that they're a little over. But what I really want, though, is a clean. Lifted. Whew. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pipe some things, some details. Right now, I'm piping out my dinner party guests, and I'm waiting for my isomalt to melt so that it can fill out the windows, these little gaps here. In addition to the top shell, the bottom shell has some details that I need to pipe as well, so you can actually see something through the windows. So I want the buttercream to be a little high. I want there to be lift so that you have a gap between the windows. It's definitely an interpretive idea, but if I can pull it off, then
now I'm filling in my last panel, and this is the inside of the mama shell. For the bathtub, I kind of want to show a little bit of dimension. And then I sort of use that to paint it onto the tub. Mommy time is very important.
It is very hard to write this tiny on royal icing. I am already going cross-eyed. Of course, I went to my focus. I did it, y'all. My joke's on the cookie.
Each face is different. accomplish in this small amount of time? Oh goodness, I don't like this.
All right, cookie makers, you have 3 minutes left. Patrizia.
I'm going to paint the details of my design. Me to the second round. All right, pizza.
30 seconds, cookie makers.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm just out.
It is very important to get the expression on.
5,
4,
I got it.
3, 2.
I'm feeling absolutely petrified because I really want them to try.
Jessica, we're gonna check out your Christmas comic cookie.
Okay.
That's good.
Oh my gosh.
That's good.
We got that right away.
Yeah.
I mean, every mom on
Is just so intricate and
Thanks.
detailed.
I am in shock. These tiny details using buttercream, it is quite a feat.
Yes.
The apple in that apple cider cookie is just everywhere. And the buttercream is like a Christmas gift on top of it.
That apple flavor is so strong, and the spices that you have in here just complement it.
I've ever eaten
Oh
in my
gosh,
life.
thank you.
Okay.
Danny. Okay, Santa went to his ex's house to deliver gifts.
Exactly.
Mrs. Claus is waiting for him to come back. This is what I gathered. And then these are Santa's.
Now that's a comic strip. Whew, you got the humor for sure. I am so impressed that you were able to pipe that number of words.
Yeah, the panels are so well done, and I like how defined the lines are.
It definitely has that cinnamon sugar pastry flavor. It really, really works.
Has a cakey interior. Good job, Danny. Patricia.
Okay, are we looking at an artist painting a picture of a fish? Oh, okay. That pizza actually looks delicious.
Thank you.
How we get from fish to pizza, had no idea.
So in Slovakia, carp is our main dish for Christmas, and we buy it alive and we put it in our bathtub. So I told my mom I'm going to set it free, and my mom said, well, what are we going to eat for dinner? And I said, pizza.
Oh,
That's
gosh. And when I hear you tell the story, it makes perfect sense. And is the expression on your face. So if you were a little sad or distressed about the fish, showing that might have helped us understand what was going on in that first frame. Painterly effect.
I love the different mediums that you have, from this royal ice.
Thank you so much.
I think the bake on this is very good. You can see on the bottom it's nice, and inside, I love the freshness of this orange flavor.
I'm getting the cardamom. I wouldn't have minded if you'd hit us over the head a little bit more with it. The orange is bright, but it's real natural. Pleasant cookie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the first panel looks like someone's baking cookies. And then is the next panel, they're making Christmas cookies.
You're good. You're better at this than I am. Explanation.
Yeah, I went with my tradition of baking cookies with my mom, but learning that my mom cannot bake.
Okay. I just wish that there was more of a defining borderline. I thought this was one scene because it's not defined between
Yeah.
the two.
I think changing the colors a little bit or changing the background, that would have helped. And maybe expressions, you know, your mom holding burned cookies,
Yeah.
she might not be smiling. That would have set a little bit more of the stage for the story.
Yeah.
I love the freshness and that zest of the orange that you have in there. Every bite you get.
It is so, so, so soft, but it's not doughy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Marissa.
It's a little upsetting that my storytelling is my biggest downfall. I'm really hoping that my flavors save me.
So, who's at the door, Eddie?
It looks like a tomato and Mr. Tomato and
I call it a Taiwanese American dinner party. There's typical Christmas foods having a party inside, and when you open the door, there are your guests waiting, and this is the Taiwanese food.
Do you have a punchline in mind?
Yes, it's Taiwanese traditions at the door.
Ah. Eugenia, first of all, this is like no cookie I've ever seen before. And it is providing
Point, yeah.
I think it's a cool technique to add the isomalt, but I think the biggest issue why it's a little hard to understand is because your piping lines are very thick. It makes the
Good.
lychee buttercream is my new favorite thing.
Oh my God.
I'm with you on that one, sister.
Whoa.
I always say I think lychee reminds me of like a green grape and a kiwi kind of.
Very distinctive chew that a macaron has.
Thank you.
Your Christmas comic cookies were more than just merry, they were hysterical. But we saw a few flaws that were no laughing matter. Unfortunately, 2 of you will be leaving the workshop now. The first cookie maker saying goodbye is
All right, the second cookie maker that will be leaving us is Eugenia. The macaron was a little overbaked, missing that signature chew that we all
you'll build a spectacle out of cookies.
as you can see, tree this year. Now, when I ordered the tree, I ordered a 66-footer instead of a 6-footer.
Our normal size ornaments look laughably small on the Treezilla. So in this round, you're gonna help us
Sphere cookie before.
Your 3D ornaments need to be
How many?
All right, so let's talk taste. To go with your oversized ornaments, we got you some undersized ingredients. Sesame seeds, pine nuts. You'd include one of these tasty but teensy
I've never worked with pumpkin seeds before. I mean, not in a dough. I am making a gingerbread dough with pumpkin seeds. That the whole seeds are going to alter the texture. My ornament is going to be, so I'm going to bake 2 half-sphere cookies, glue those together. This is going to be my hook. What I'm going to do is set it on a little stand of cookies. Okay. Design is getting that classic bulb shape. So I'm going to bake the cookie over all the areas because I need those even bottoms that I can attach them together. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I want my ornament to look like a beautiful Pacific Northwest treescape. And the background is going to be this nice light cookie community. So these buttercream trees need to be perfect. So now I'm working on the second. My winner cookie. The key ingredient is that maple extract and the maple syrup.
I chose sesame seeds because anything that has like a nutty flavor is gonna pair well with my gingerbread. My gingerbread recipe is heavy on the molasses, which makes a really chewy cookie. Okay, that's good. In my head, wide. So my vision is to have this beautiful ball at the top and have these ornate embellishments at the bottom that are hanging down. And then they're gonna be glued together with ribbon going through all of the cookies. I want to be the only one that has the ambition to actually hang my ornament. I am making an ornament homage to my roots. One side is going to be San Francisco themed. Of course, I'm gonna I know I have a winning Christmas ornament because you can see my style, my home, my heart. Sign the check now. Danielle Amorow. For my second dough, we had a lemon tree growing up, so I know I want to create a cookie using a tiny bit of blueberries. My lemon.
Right now I'm working on my gingerbread cookie, which will use honey and ginger, cloves, and cinnamon. My mom uses honey in her gingerbread cookies. I actually a bowl. I am going to score an opening into my cookie before I bake it. All right. Design is ornament. I am going to paint the big cardinal sitting on the branch. It just reminds me.
I'm using royal.
There's really no technique I'm doing. I'm just dipping it and shaking it, praying that I get all the extra royal icing off of my cookie. I don't want too much excess icing on it because it's going to ultimately affect my drying time. It's messy.
And I don't know why.
She might have rolled them a little too thick.
It has to go back. I don't know what's happening. Why?
Patrizia is going back to me.
Hope hoping that temperature will be hotter inside and my cookies will finally bake. Okay, this is for starting. I need to start to decorate, so I'm starting to feel nervous.
Cookie makers, you have 90 minutes remaining. Giant ornaments.
My spheres are still in the oven. They are. In the meantime, I'm decorating my Christmas tree. My Christmas.
Okay, here we go.
I don't normally work with royal icing, but I think it's gonna be the fastest way to cover my oversized ornament because with buttercream, it would take forever to.
So the first side of my cookie is gonna be the Golden Gate Bridge. Now I'm gonna go to my San Diego cookie, add some sand. The color scheme I'm using isn't traditional Christmas colors, so I wanna write Merry Christmas on them too, just to like really push that it's Christmassy. Pretty happy with that. And then the bottom embellishments of my ornament have swirls like a classic ornament.
They look a little overdone. So first, they are not baking, and then they just bake a little too much. Hopefully they...
This is gonna be the top of my ornament, where the I grabbed some gold luster dust and some alcohol and just started painting.
All right. I'm going side of my cookie, and now the sprinkle fun. I don't want to. Yep.
All of this has to dry before you assemble it, though, right?
Yes,
Ooh.
it does. Yes, so I'm trying to work fast.
All right, here we go. It's time to start building my ornament. I'm gonna glue them together with isomalt. It's just gonna completely ruin my design with my own hands. I just messed my cue, son.
What's wrong, Danny?
It's horrible. I am definitely realizing I put too much icing on it, and that is why my cookies aren't drying. Will this even be salvageable? Ah!
Paintbrush in water, mixing it with some gel color, and I love cardinals. They are such beautiful birds. This ornament is for them.
Painting on the trees with my buttercream. So when I'm using palette knives, I'm kind of and then I use a smaller one to paint up the. It's huge, and these trees are taking a. I'm hoping I can get around to the back.
I have not given up hope. I take my sphere out. To be honest, y'all, it's not that bad. It's dried enough where instruction. Once I glue my two pieces together, okay, I'm just praying that the isomalt dries enough so I can act.
Fun. I am going to use isomalt to glue my pieces together. Uh-oh. Oh.
Patrizia has a lot of space in that gap. She probably should have shaved down the edges a little bit more so that they match.
Oh, yeah.
There go.
Aisle.
Okay.
5 minutes left, cookie makers.
Okay, gotta speed things up a little. I still have not painted on the poinsettias that are gonna be around the top of the hook.
Decorating to do.
I'm piping the red poinsettia leaves with the butter. Just need to add snow to the trees, and that's it.
The design doesn't go all the way around.
even worth the risk, or should I set it down? Something's gonna fall apart and break.
It's too risky. Annie,
It just doesn't look as sturdy as I'd hope.
30 seconds.
Come on now, you have to get it plated.
Ooh.
That is it.
That's it.
Oh, I am instantly regretting my decision. Compared to the gigantic, colossal ornaments that the girls made, I don't know that I have that wow factor.
Oversized ornament, a treescape of Pacific Northwest trees.
You have this beautiful, big, solid sphere, well put together, well built. The ornament has some great texture and dimension. What I really love is this beautiful gold hook.
The biggest issue that I have, though, is that this work is so nice in the front, and then in the back it's just bare. I really wish that you would have taken the trees all the way around, or give us a different scene in the back.
Okay.
All right.
The texture of your cookie is so soft and such a pleasant way. And then you add in maple syrup, which is a very rich and robust flavor.
It's almost like we're eating maple. It's just an absolute treat.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Aha! All right.
If you wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't know that this was gingerbread. Kind of tastes like a graham cracker to me.
I actually really like the chewy texture of this cookie. I do have to say I haven't detected the pumpkin seeds. Maybe you picked out too many of the big pieces and we needed to leave a few in. Thank you.
Oversized ornament.
Okay, so my theme is home is
I really thought we were gonna see a pile of icing and some crumbled cookies. Looks like this side got a little bit smushed and mushed, but you really pulled it together. I love your color scheme. That beautiful robin's egg blue, and then that bright coral red.
Flip it over and let me see San Diego. So good. I especially love this wreath that's going around. And then the letter.
It has that really intense, puckery lemon.
Getting is that lemon. But with that being said, the lemon flavor in here is just delicious.
That is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into this.
A little more of a hint of them.
I think that it has the perfect sweetness and
The winter woodland.
we have an ornament that's 360 degrees, but you went over and beyond, which I really appreciate. Now we can see inside of it, and you're able to see this beautiful tree that
around the opening. They look like little roses. And making the gingerbread just a little bit more interesting than all the Out of pine nuts.
He's all over the place.
If this is not your signature cookie by now, it needs to be.